to boldly go where no man has. Nah. Just tiny Epic Galaxies. It's been around for a while. I just kind of had the itch to make another organizer, but I just didn't feel like taking on a big project right now. Maybe just a small project. Like a tiny project. Like tiny Epic Galaxies. Not a whole lot to organize, but it's still, there's a lot in a tiny little box, little tiny pieces and things. Actually, it's a fun game. I really enjoy this game. I play it all the time. I'm looking to still get the expansion yet, actually. I've played it a couple of times too, but I only have a select few people I play this with, and every time we play it, they have to remember how. Right? So until they get to the point where they can actually play it fluently without having to go through the rules again, I'll wait until I get the expansion. But anyway. A tiny little box, but with a whole bunch of stuff in it. Now, it's kind of neat. They make the top of it as like it's going to be your dice tray. But inside we've got our player mats, instruction book, and if you're going to be red, black, yellow, blue, or green characters. And we've got the dice. Then we have our planets, which I already have everything in protective sleeves because we do play this game quite a bit. And then in here we've got more planets. And then we've got our secret missions. So, altogether, there's only one thing, is that it has a quick menu in the bottom. We want to make it so that nothing rattles around in there. Everything stays where it's supposed to. We'll put half the cards on one side, half the cards on the other. Just like that. We can make another small tray on top. Yes, that's what we'll do. We'll make another small tray on top to put all of these little guys in, so you'd have them like this across the top. This would cover the bottom, so nothing moves around down there. These are all across the top like that, and their own little compartments. And then when you put the rule book on top, and then you put these cards on top, and put the lid on, that should hold everything in place. Yeah, I think that'll work well. So, first step is the cards. Let's go 165. So let's cut that. I already have some stuff that's already pre-cut, so all I have to do is just throw it on my Patron table and we'll give her a go. It's actually 107. May as well make our next piece, because we're going to have the bottom tray and we're also going to have the top tray. So this piece is already the right length. Just had to make a piece with the right width. These should be the same now. That's where it's nice to have this thing. Perfect. Okay, so we gotta figure out our height here again. Okay, that perfect. Now all we need is our side pieces. Slightly tacky glue here I just keep upside down in a shot glass so that I never have to wait for it to come out. We've got our pins. And we've got our bottom, so put a little bit of glue on here. And you don't really need a lot of glue, like this is just foam, right? So it's just a... The other thing is that once you put your first coat, your protective layer of paint on, Mod Podge black paint or whatever, that gives it an extra bond. Now these ones are obviously going to stick out a little bit, so you have to be careful when you run your pins through. You don't want to stab yourself. And yes, I've done that a few times. After you've made so many organizers. Alright, so we got this side done. I'm gonna stick that on there like so. So there's two reasons why you don't use a glue gun when you're making these. One, it allows you to, this stuff still allows you to at least move it around a little bit. It doesn't just adhere, that's it, it's stuck there, and you're stuck with whatever you've just did. See, I can actually move it around a little bit until I have it right where I want it to be. And even if I'm a little off, I can pull the pin out, move it again, and get it right where it needs to be. The other thing is that it sets up so fast, unless you have it really hot, which you can't because this is foam. And because it sets up so fast, it ends up adding extra meat between your joints. So that's not good, because then your measurements will be all out. Everything's going to be too tight or whatever, won't fit in the box. You're going to be all pissed off. There we go. So we got our sides done. Coolio. Now, much easier once that's done like that to measure and see what you need for the distance of your other ones. So we need, so this should fit already, but look at that. So, yeah, we obviously have to make more than just two because we get the centerpieces too. Alright. Alright, so I think she's all dried out. Let's take the pins out here. There we go. That's nice and rigid now too, because that centerpiece. So let's see how she fits. Oh, look at that, beautiful. Just a little bit of wiggle room, which is good because it still have, may not seem like it, but the paint does take a bit of space. Let's put the cards in here. Those are perfect there. Over here. Those are perfect there, look at that. Now we put this on top. Doesn't give us a whole lot of space, but it should be just enough. Make sure that these fit in there. Yeah, when it pushes down, it's going to fit fine with the dice too. Either way, we got green ones. I can make one little larger one here for the dice, so we can see our pattern that we're going to use. That'll push down just ever so slightly. Let's see how this fits on top right now. Not bad. It's probably going to stick up just a little bit. This is kind of cool. Look how thin that is. Basically, this is tiny Epic Quests. It's a very tiny box. We can't use stuff with a normal thickness in here, it seems, because it's tiny. So we've made this a little bit thinner. We've also made this very, very thin. So thin that it's almost transparent. Look at that, you can see the lettering right through it. But it's still strong enough to hold the cards, and once we add the glue, it'll add extra strength as well. But the big thing is that once we put in our second tray here, now that we've removed all this excess stuff, that we can fit stuff in here easily. The player mats and the instruction book will still fit on top, and the whole thing will close like normal. So now we got to make our second layer. We already know that this fits well, and we already know that we need to have 6 compartments for our dice and our 5 different colored players. I've already cut some lengths that we need, so let's just get cracking. So we got the border done of our second layer now. Pretty basics. That's just it. Just that. So we're gonna let that sit and dry. Just make sure there's no other excess glue sticking out here. Try not to stab myself. So we're gonna let that sit and dry. Now while that's sitting and drying, we may as well get started on Mod Podging this thing. It's funny, I got this brush, pretty sure it was the dollar store. I can't remember how long ago. I think I've actually had this crappy old brush here for a couple of years now. For stuff like this, that's all you need. You don't need anything fancy, that's for sure. It's just glue and black paint, that's all it is. There we go. So we got the first layer done. Still have to do this side, but it needs to dry. So we're going to put that up and aside for now and let that heal. So we've got that stuff healing, we got this stuff healing. Now we got to wait for paint to dry, we got to wait for glue to dry. Now I could probably start working on putting the pieces in to separate the 6, but in all reality, I got all these little pokey needles all around here, and I know I'm just going to stab myself once trying to get the ones in there. So, you know what? I'm not in a rush, and I can always press pause on the camera and come back to it when it's dry, so you guys don't have to wait anyway. We've got a coat of black on top now. This is actually pretty rigid. You know, for as thin as it was, it's actually pretty good. for our cards. But as you can see, that little bit of shine there, that's still drying. So we're gonna let that dry. Over here, we've made our tray for our little components. And this is pretty much all dry now, so let's pull all the pins out. Will be to paint. We'll get the Mod Podge on this, we'll get the black coat on this, and then it's just a matter of, you know, putting a little bit of paint on there. I didn't use a roller on these ones to make any kind of pattern because I don't have like a space pattern. There we go, add a little bit of space to the thing here. Some planets. Do a little bit more on this side. Yeah. Alright, so I got the bottom one done, and the top one's got a coat of black. Right, so it's all set to go. I just have to paint a diagram. I made them kind of a gloss there too, so it kind of has a nice shine to it. So one thing about this game is that everything has to fit in there just right because there's only so much room in the box. It's a tiny box. So I'll fit this in here. Look at that. That fit nicely. Beautiful. There we go. Fit this in on top. Oh yeah. Well, we're finally ready to put it all together. Alright, so this just slips nice and easy. Look at that. Beautiful. Then we'll put the cards in. Just like so. Put our secret missions in there. Then we now have our tray. Look at that. Just beautiful. Goes out no problem, goes in no problem. Alright. Let's put our little guys in all their places. There's all the greens in. Back. And we put this on top. Get our player mats. And our activation bay. Put those there. It's nice. And there we have it. Just a little project. Done. Till next time.